Lenz. As expected, Governor Kevin Stitt calling for more school choice, more tax cuts, and less interference from Washington, D.C. in his State of the State speech on Monday. Joining us now from our OETA studios in the Capitol is our Capitol correspondent, Jason Doyle. And Jason, the speech was mostly well received in the House chamber, but not everyone shares the governor's vision for the next 4 years.
Rich, that's right. The governor outlined his priorities for the next legislative session this week, and he wants the legislation to focus on education, business-friendly issues, and protecting freedoms.
I am proud to present my plan for the greatest legislative session we've had yet.
During his fifth State of the State address this week, Governor Stitt continued the push to give parents more control and choice over their children's education. While looking back on the past 4 years of change put into place, like open transfer and more accountabilities for schools, Stitt wants to push forward with an education voucher system, a way to incentivize teachers without an across-the-board pay raise, to set up new specialty schools and expand reading initiatives and grow more concurrent enrollment opportunities.
These strategic initiatives will bring Oklahoma's education system out of the bottom and into the top 10.
Very excited about his commitment to investing in the quality of education here in Oklahoma.
Senator Shane Jett is working on legislation where the dollars follow the student, not the school. His bill has a population threshold of 10,000 for rural counties. Before a parent can transfer their student using the education savings accounts to another school, that small population school would have to meet certain triggers before the transfer could take place.
If it becomes clear that the school is focused on indoctrination, they're focusing on woke ideology, and they're really turning the classroom into an ideological battlefield and subjecting these children to harm through these types of Marxist ideologies, then that will trigger the parents to be able to activate and be able to choose where their money goes and where their children goes, and having the money to follow the child.
House Democrats are pushing back on the notion that education savings accounts will help students.
Does the money follow the student? Not all of them. $130 million at $5,000 per student each means 26,000 kids get access to these funds. Right now in our private schools, 35,000 students are already enrolled. These funds would be wholly consumed by those paying full price for private school right now before a single new student is admitted.
Another point on Stitt's legislative agenda is to continue developing policy and investments by the state to make Oklahoma more business friendly.
That means continuing to focus on key areas: energy, infrastructure, workforce development, and tax policy.
Stitt plans to continue to push for an all-of-the-above approach to energy by continuing to support the oil and natural gas industry while also developing future fuel technologies like hydrogen. Part of those developing technologies, along with current industries like aerospace and other high-tech areas, will require qualified workers. Stitt wants to enable Oklahoma's education system to address workforce issues and labor shortages.
As companies flood to Oklahoma, workforce is the #1 challenge facing businesses. Let's make sure our universities and higher education are partnering with companies to train the workforce of tomorrow.
While Democrats appreciate the efforts to develop a more capable workforce in Oklahoma through enhanced educational efforts, Representative Trish Ranson contends more could be done to help those on the sidelines because they can't find affordable care for their children.
Finding affordable open spots in daycares across our state. That is a big workforce issue going forward, and our economy cannot run if the women in our state cannot work.
In the same vein as finding relief for Oklahomans, Governor Stitt renewed his call for inflation and tax relief.
In my executive budget, I am proposing to eliminate Oklahoma's state grocery tax and reduce our personal income tax rate to 3.99%.
Democrats are behind the grocery sales tax cut.
That is something that House Democrats have been working on for years, and the governor has jumped on board and continues to champion it. So hopefully our colleagues on the other side of the aisle will join.
Before Stitt even entered the House chamber, part of his agenda drew out protesters, those who support the transgender therapies.
We must protect our most vulnerable, our children. After all, minors can't vote, can't purchase alcohol, can't purchase cigarettes. We shouldn't allow a minor to get a permanent gender-altering surgery in Oklahoma.
While Securing Liberty PAC founder and director Brittany Novotny is against the anti-transgender therapies and procedures bills, she advises the transgender community should engage with Republican lawmakers.
Because this is a Republican majority in both the Senate and the House, so we're not going to beat these bills by only talking to Democrats. We've got to talk about the Republican values that these bills violate and be able to reach legislators that way.
Despite the protests over transgender issues, Governor Stitt is optimistic about the state's future.
The future doesn't belong to the timid or those who protect the status quo. The future belongs to the brave, the pioneers, the go-getters, the can-doers. The future belongs to Oklahoma.
The protesters were nonviolent, but were certainly vocal ahead of the State address. A Senate committee already approved measures restricting transgender therapies on people under 18 this week.